Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Her panel discussion. We have put this discussion on this evening to honor International Women's Day, but I call it International Women's Month. And I'm absolutely excited to hear what all the panelists have to say. We're going to shoot the shit. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about trials and tribulations and barriers. One of the biggest ones is being a mother. So just welcome these guys, everybody. We have Doria from Oda BC. We have Fantanish from Oda Halifax. We have Missy Searle from Halifax. And then we have Lacey from Montreal, Halifax, Cole Harbor, North Preston, East Preston. Lacey just traveling the world. And unfortunately, Bernadette Hamilton Reed sends her regrets. Hopefully, she'll be able to go on to the next one. But anyways, welcome everybody. So we're going to briefly go around and we're going to have each of you guys introduce yourself and just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. Let's start with Fantanish.
Hey, everyone. Happy International Women's Month. I was super excited to be on this panel with these women. I'm super excited. Even more excited for this weekend coming up. I just can't even stop talking about it. The exclusive Black women professional development and wellness weekend. Like that's all I'm talking about all week. So I'm super excited. Anyways, so my name is Fantanish. The owner of Blue Nile Massage and Wellness. We are almost 12 months under our belts in our first commercial space, but I've had my practice for 4 years. And being in this commercial space this whole year, every month I thought I was going to sell the business because it's been a crazy ride, but we're still here, and I've learned so much along the way, and I'm really excited to kind of share that with you guys tonight. So thank you.
Yes, Fantanish, not the commercial space. We love hearing commercial. We love hearing space, and we love seeing it being by a Black woman. Let's go into Missy Searle. Thank you, Fantanish.
Hello, good evening and good afternoon to Doria, way out in the sunny West Coast. So happy to be here. Thank you, Tia, again for inviting me. What can I say? It's just wonderful to be in your space, to get everyone's energy. Even though we're on a screen, you can still feel it. My name is Missy Searle. I am a virtual consultant who does small project management, but I also wear the hat of being the provincial coordinator for Nurturing Strong African Nova Scotian Families, a parenting program that has an Afrocentric curriculum. I am super excited to keep watching our journeys blossom and grow, like Fantanish's and Lacey's. I'm just really, really happy to be here. And I continuously want to thank Tia for always thinking of Black women. I know it's in the title, but I'm just thankful that she continuously thinks of us. And because of her, she's kind of changed the trajectory of my business a little. And I've spent a lot more time in the past year working with more Black women than I have in the past. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you for dealing with my crazy ideas. Missy is a consultant I go to every time I have an event. I will call Missy. I will ensure that it's in the budget to bring her on because I have crazy ideas. Only person that can really bring it to life is Missy. So if anybody looking for a consultant, check out Al Searle Virtual Consulting. Thank you, Missy.
Thank you, Tia.
Lacey, you are up. Ain't she very cute? Oh, you're on mute, Lacey. There you
Sorry,
go.
I was too busy being cute, as Tia said. But I was just piggyback off of Misty and off of Tia. These are two amazing Black women in business. And because of Tia, I was able to meet Missy and join forces with her and get some well-needed education on moving forward with my marketing. And Tia, thank you, sweetheart, so much for always being a queen that sits on our throne, honey. Okay. So I thank you for always allowing us to do stuff like this, because honestly, moving from Montreal, coming back here, I didn't know where I was going. I thought I knew, but I didn't know until I met you and Missy and Fantanish and so on. So I'm just happy to be here tonight. So thank you for having me. I am the owner of DJTB Apparel and Accessories located in Cole Harbor. I can say I am the first Black woman boutique in the Cole Harbor area. So we're making history, honey. We are making history. So yeah, and I'm here tonight to be with all of you guys, and I'm just happy to be here. So thank you again, Tia.
You're welcome, Lacey. Thank you for having them fresh fashions. I get a lot of the time people ask me where I got my clothes from. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be at DJ TV's Apparel and Accessories in Cole Harbor. My wardrobe, like I wish you guys can see my dresses hanging on the door there. It's from her store. So thanks, Lacey.
Thank you.
Doria, welcome, welcome, Doria.
I am so deeply honored to be here with you beautiful Black people and women and entrepreneurs. I'm just excited. I know I'm in little old BC, but I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the love. Again, I really, truly feel honored, not only just because Tia's, there are no words, but, and she's changed the trajectory of not only who I am as a human, but as a woman, and also as an entrepreneur. So for that, I am in deep, deep, deep gratitude. And I just feel so much warmth and connection by seeing you guys every 2 weeks and just knowing that you're there, because there's so few of us over here. So I'm just going to say that. Anyways, I am the founder and owner of Holistic Sober Living. We do a 2 women recovery. So we're a holistic, inclusive recovery house for women who self-identify, for the LGBTQ community, for Black women, for Indigenous women. And what we do is we really want to go for the recovery deep. So what we're looking at is relapse prevention. We're looking at the 12-step programs, but we're also looking at other unique modalities that we know work, but people haven't quite allowed them or latched on, or it's not as mainstream. And I want to bring it back to folks so we can heal from the root. Like, I don't want to just do 30, 60, 90 days. I want to take that trauma and remove it from you so you don't have that baggage anymore. Now you got Louis Vuitton that works, okay? Not the stuff that you got to drag and the zipper don't work and the wheel's broken. You know what I'm talking about, right? And so this is what we're doing. And also what we want to do is we don't want to just have you in our house. We want to do outreach services and full wraparound. So we're just enveloping you with love and compassion. And I believe that truly with passion will heal anybody who's ready. So that's me. And thank you so much for having me. And my heart is.
Yeah, Doria is one person that always gets me emotional because she always comes with these things and the way she speaks. You guys think I'm passionate, and you haven't met passionate till you talk to Doria. She will have you what do you call it? Reflecting yourselves every single time you speak to her. So she reconfirms to me what I'm doing right when it comes to Black women. And it's not just Doria, but a lot of women. But when I speak to her, it's a different, it hits. So if I've actually came off of calls with her and we're both like, are you crying? Like that's how we can get. So welcome Doria over here to little old Nova Scotia. And I will be seeing Doria in June. I'll be at a conference up there, so we'll definitely get to connect in person. So I'm so glad you can be here today with us. So we have a various amount of questions. Some of the questions may seem like they're easy, some may seem like they're hard, but I did that purposely just for me, watching a lot of women I've worked with over the last year go through these type of situations and whatnot. So I want to kind of bring it to light a little bit and talk about it, because sometimes as an entrepreneur or a woman in business, you don't get to discuss these type of things that are going on. And of course, with me, I like to push the envelope and, bring everything up to the surface. We're going to start with Fantanish. Yes. Fantanish, how do you define or view mentorship? And do you have a mentor, and how have they influenced you?
Yeah, I guess in one word, I would describe mentorship as guidance. Like it's really guidance. for me, a mentor for me is someone who is in a place that I aspire to be in, someone who motivates me and inspires me to do better. And they have to be in a place that I'm not in yet in order for me to grow. So that's specifically what I look for in a mentor. It has to be someone who, you know, because we have our peers, we have our colleagues, we have everyone who's kind of in the same space as us, but a mentor is really someone who's really going to take you to that next level. And through mentorship, because, you know, mentors are in a different space, they have different access to resources. A good mentor and a true mentor is going to show you and share these resources with you. They're going to put you in spaces that make you feel uncomfortable. They're going to challenge you. And as a mentee, it's definitely not a good look to challenge back and to be resistant to those types of things. Mentorship is a two-way street. You're receiving on both ends. And to be a mentee, you really have to have a lot of humility, I find, in order to really reflect on yourself and see, you know, there's obviously something that I need to be doing that I'm not doing right now. How can I use this experience to grow? How can I, you know, use this person to elevate me and really kind of hear what they're saying and not take it as criticism, but take it kind of constructively. And I was also a mentor for a lot of your programs, Tia, through Fix Your Crown. And it's also challenging being a mentor because you really want to see people succeed and you want to pull them through and you want to share and give them access. And not everyone is in that space where they're ready to hear it or they're ready to make, you know, those steps. And you can't want it more than the person. They have to, again, it's an exchange. It has to be, you know, it has to be on both sides. And there's a lot of humility involved in being a mentor because the people that you're mentoring might not be willing or ready or in the same space that you can see them at and that you want to pull them to, and like you see this potential in them, but they're not there right now. So as a mentor, you also have to have that humility, this humility on both sides. So it's a really valuable relationship. Like if you're ready on both ends, like if you're ready to be mentored and to be a mentor, there's a lot of learning that can happen on both sides. Of course, Tia was my first mentor. I can say that. Like I've seen women in business all throughout, but there's never been someone who's like kind of taken me under their wing the way that she has and kind of carved time out in her schedule to meet with me for lunch, and like we're voice noting all day long. Like I know this woman is busy. I know she's so busy and we're still voice noting all day long, and I'm like blowing her up like every minute. I'm like, you know, like I think mentors to set better boundaries sometimes because I'm like, girl, like what do I do? Like, and we kind of built this relationship, but like the way that you've taken me under your wing and you put me in rooms that I didn't feel even ready to be in, and you put me in front of people that I didn't feel ready to be in front of, and you challenged me so much. Like I've grown so much, and a lot of it has been scary, and a lot of it has been like me feeling like I can't do it, or me wanting to, even days when I want to give up, you're like, it's not failure. No. You're like, it's still not failure. If you have to make a choice to do what's best for your business, that's still a success. And you've just really like empowered me and uplifted me and shared so many opportunities with me. I wouldn't even be in that commercial space. And, you know, if you hadn't walked me through that loan application, girl, when I had just recovering from COVID, like, I was isolated from my kids for 1 week, like 10 days. And we had that whole application done. And then I got into this commercial space. So it's just the most valuable thing. And we built a sister kind of friendship out of it, because it was an exchange. Like I had to really observe myself and be like, how you challenge me all the time. And I had to be like, okay, do I want to be where Tia is? Like, do I want to be where, these people that inspire me, do I want to be there? Then I have to not resist it. I have to put myself out there. So that's kind of, that's how I see mentorship. Really, it's an exchange. There's a lot of guidance. There's a lot of humility involved. And I think if anybody wants to be a mentor, you have to be a giver. At the end of the day, you have to be a giver. You can't hold opportunities. You can't hold connections. You can't hold the tea. You can't hold the tips. Like, you have to be able to want to see everybody win and share that opportunity with everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that, because it's absolutely, what you're saying is absolutely right. It has to be an exchange. And I wrote that down. And mentorship has to be an exchange. You learn from each other, and not everybody can be a mentor. And not everybody is ready to be a mentee. I will say, if you're looking to be a mentor, please do it, but you have to be a giver. You cannot do it just to resume pad, or to put it in your portfolio, or to put on your LinkedIn page that you're a mentor.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to your mentee. You have to be ready to be a giver.
Yeah.
But thank you for giving me that information about carving out boundaries, because I just feel like whenever someone needs help, like, no matter how busy I am, I have to answer them. Like, that could, and I mean, people will say, oh, you need boundaries, but just imagine if someone is on their last part of their, loans application for capital, and they're just stuck, and they message me, and I say, oh, nope, the boundaries are there. I'll see you next week, but the deadline's tomorrow. Can you imagine? That's a big thing, right? So I don't mind the voice notes, and it goes both ways. Even though I answer her, you guys, I will say today she didn't hear from me all week, and she reached out to me. She actually sent me a voice note, and she said, "It's been a quiet week, girl. How are you? Are you good?" And she noticed that I wasn't, out there. So it's been a long week, and the week hasn't even, ended. So I do appreciate it. So it's giving and taking, giving and taking. So thank you.
Yep.
Okay, let's go into our next question. It is going to be for all of you. And I guess we can start with even Dory. We can start with you going around. The question is, how do you define time management, and what does that look like for you as a mother in business?
Okay, first I just want to echo, because Tia is my mentor, so I had to say something. So I want to agree with you. The words that you said were perfect. And this isn't a all hail Tia, but it also is, because
Please don't.
right? No, but we are seeing. I think when you look back in life and you say, that was an epiphany, or that was a pivotal moment in my life, or that really meant something, and I'm going to take that in my heart and I'm going to run with it, right? That's what's happening right now. And you're creating a movement. That's what I feel. I feel there's a movement happening, and it's like life is just an exchange of energy, and I got a lot of energy, so let's do the damn thing, right? You know what I mean? And so that's how I feel. And when you meet someone and you have that synergy, it ignites you. It just like all of a sudden you were tired and bored and irritated and whatever, and now you're like, yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That is imperative. Like, think in your life, how many people have you come across that actually touch you like that, right? So I know you said life work balance. I am a workaholic. So this has been very eye-opening and hard for me, because I have a 20-year-old at home, and I have a puppy who I call my boys. So my stinky boys, he's going to kill me. Anyways, they're not, but my lovely men in the house. And so working from home, I was already working from home for 2 years. So then making this transition, I thought, oh, it'll be easy. But what happened for me is I had to remember to shower. Because if you're working, and especially when you're starting your business and you're past it, like, you're just doing it, and you're like, if I haven't gone out in 4 days, who cares, right? But just the mindfulness of, how do I get grounded? How do I stay within myself and more heart-centered? Because sometimes my two entities don't always chat with each other or send voice notes. So for me, it was a real conscious effort. And also then, do I make the kid dinner? Do I, how long do I have to walk the dog? So
Yeah.
I was just telling Tia, I said, I got about 17 apps. And I put everything on there. And sometimes it's irritating, but other times it's just like, sister, take 5 minutes to breathe. Get up and stretch. Walk out the door and earth. Put your feet in the ground just for a moment. Nothing is that important. You can take 7 minutes. You know what I mean? And so just finding the balance and doing it when I didn't want to was huge. And when I didn't think I needed to, like, one thing I say about entrepreneurship, it gave me bags in 10 years, right? And I've only been doing it for 9 months. Like, you know what I mean? But if you don't fill your well, and what I tell folks, or especially my clients, is you have nothing to give until your well is full and overflowing. So now I have to mirror that back to myself and say, okay, Doria, where are you at? And where are you at today? And why are you having stress or anxiousness? Have you at least tried to balance it out? It's not perfect, but it's getting a lot better. But it's about mindfulness. It's about, I put it in my calendar: shower, do this, walk through do some yoga, because I have to, or otherwise I'll sit here for 12 hours. Then I'll overeat. You know the story, right?
Oh,
Whatever
been
we do to anesthetize when we're not happy. So I wanted to just see, how can I do this a bit better? Because I know that when I do open up, you don't have that time. And if you haven't laid the groundwork, it's too late. Because how you gonna go back and say,
Yeah.
okay, now I got to do self-care when you had a time to do it, right? Did that answer your question?
No, it really did. It really did. So the point, I just heard her say is basically you have to fill your cup and make sure it's overflowing before you dive into something else or somebody else. So remember that, ladies. Missy, same question for you. How do you define time management and what does that look like for you as a mother in business?
So for me, I didn't recognize what time management was until I crashed and burned. Um, I was 28 years old and responsible for a post office because the manager was on mat leave. And of course, her mat leave was over Christmas. So I had a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, husband at sea, and I was working 60 hours a week. Yeah. And Stu came home from sea, probably was home for a week, and I was completely immobile. Couldn't move out of bed, couldn't put my feet on the floor, couldn't feel my extremities. And it was at that point I discovered that I could not be, what is it saying, the be all to end all, or
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? So that is really when I discovered it. And I ended up spending some time with a dear friend who is Indigenous, and she just brought me to Mother Earth. She took me to Rainbow Haven and put my feet in ice cold Atlantic Ocean. And, she drummed around me. She just, close your eyes, cry. She said, just let it out. And at that point, it was when I went, yeah, pardon the expression, but fuck y'all, I'm what's first.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, I mean, I'd be lying to say I didn't do it like that. I, didn't overtax myself, because that's a lie, because that was like 27 years ago. But I've done it better. So I look at time now like it's a bank. I'm going in and I'm borrowing, and then I'm putting in, and then I'm taking it, and I'm putting in, and I'm taking it. And I read 2 books a week. I make time for my Coronation Street. I make time to cook
Not
because I love to
Coronation
cook.
Street.
Oh, hello. Gotta watch it. I make time to cook. Today, I finished work early and I sat down and crocheted a hat. Like, Lacey will laugh at that because I told Lacey I need to take that time. But I wasn't doing that, and I wasn't doing that right. And so my suggestion is for everybody to look at time as a bank. If you work 8 hours at 60 minutes, an hour, what's that? 8 times 6, 480 hours. Is that right? No.
I'm not good with math. That's why I got an accountant.
I'm not the finance. I think it's 480. Is it 480?
Someone bring out the
Anyway.
calculator.
60 times 8, right? 480? Oh my gosh. This is live. This is not fair.
No, I know. I can't even
Erica,
edit
do
this.
the math.
Erica, Tanya, Lily, I don't know,
60 times
somebody.
8
You're doing
equals,
great,
yes,
sweetie.
it's right. 480 minutes.
Okay.
Don't doubt yourself.
We would have all said yeah to 480. Yeah, you're right.
So take the 480 minutes and actually do this for a week. I'm telling you, you will go, oh my gosh. How many times did you pick up your phone to look at social media? How many minutes did it take you to answer useless emails? How many minutes did you waste on a phone call with somebody who is just taking up your time? How much time did you spend on productive work? Log that for a whole week. And then at the end of the week, look to see how much of your banked time do you actually still have left over? Because I'm going to tell you, the first week you do it, you're going to see that you were borrowing and you don't want to be. You want to be in the black. You don't want to be in the red. So that's how I look at time. And that's what I want everybody to do, or you're going to end up like me and not being able to haul your ass out of bed, move, or anything. So that's how I look at time.
Time blocking. Literally, I'm like that now. Everything has a space in my calendar. I don't, even when I talk on the phone, say with Missy or Fantanish, it's always business. So to me, it doesn't feel like it's, wasting time. Um, you really have to time block and prioritize and just kind of do what Missy said, keep track of what you're doing that's not productive, that you're kind of putting out too much of. And at the end of the week, check it. I'm curious to see how many people will do that challenge. Let's see.
I'm in.
I don't want to do it because I already know. We're gonna go to Fantanish, same question. How do you define time management and what does that look like for you as a mother in business?
I mean, I love what Missy said about like treat time like a bank, because it's so interesting that we can say we spend money and then we spend time. Like it's something that it is a currency, and the one that you spend, you're not going to get it back. So you have to make sure that you're setting it aside appropriately. I don't unfortunately believe in work-life balance, and that's something that I never really bought into, and I'll talk about it more on the weekend. I think there is life and work is just a small bit of it, and if we really are trying to make it even equal, or I don't even like to even just use it in the same sentence, because we shouldn't be trying to do a work-life balance. We should be doing time management, which is to me it's literally self-care. Like to me, time management is self-care. And we can manage work and we can manage life. And we do that through managing our time. For me, like when I'm managing my time at work, it's really important, because otherwise I'm going to be working in circles. I'm going to be doing that, checking those mindless emails, scrolling, doing all that stuff. So what I do is I manage my time to dedicate it to certain areas that I think is important, and that's really going to help me propel my business. And I spend a certain amount of time, doing like cold calls, checking in with potential partners, meeting with my team, doing things like that to make sure that I'm not a hamster, working in the business all the time and never on the business. So that's something that I'm really, focusing on, and really I had to make that switch because I was getting nowhere. And then managing my time in my life, there is different aspects of me where I want to spend time with my family. trying to date.
Yes.
I've had some pushes from people that tell me I need to find a man because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, just give me a minute.
She needs to get a man. We need her to get a man.
But like trying to be social, I'm trying to be active, like I'm trying to be spiritual, like I'm going to church, trying to make time to pray. Like there's so many things that like I'm trying to do. And if I don't manage my time, it's the same thing. I'm gonna be just sitting here looking at the kids and the hours are just going by and I didn't do anything. So for me, time management is self-care. It's not about work-life balance. It's how do I manage my work and how do I manage my life with this time that I have, which is a currency. How do I make sure that I'm spending it in the right areas? Like that's my view on time management.
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this from Fantanish briefly about a month ago. I said I was at maybe not even a month, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe no, a month ago. I did a podcast and they asked me how I did time management. And I said, yo, I haven't even mastered it yet when it came to balancing my work life and personal life. I said that's not a question for me. And then Fantanish like pulled me back. We shouldn't be having a work balance life. We should be living and having a portion of that for business. But she said she's gonna leave me hanging until the retreat.
Other
So
weekend.
on the weekend I'll find out exactly what she meant because we're so conditioned to do the work life balance.
Work-life balance. Yeah.
That's how we're conditioned that way. So when I said to her, she checked me real quick. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop using that term and wait till the retreat. So thank you, Fantanish. Lacey, questions for you too. How do you define time management and what does
Oh,
that look like?
well, for me, it's kind of different because I'm a traveling business mother right now as it stands. But before that, I was a daycare educator for over 20 years. And that sat me on my ass because I was that hamster in that wheel for somebody else. And I wasn't holding myself accountable and making sure that I was balancing myself. So I did end up in the hospital. I did have that burnout. And I was trying to run the online at that time and working my ass off for somebody else for years before I realized, well, after my grandmother, she was like, you know what, baby, we ain't doing this no more. So that's when I knew for myself that the 10th year in that particular daycare, I was done.
Yeah.
And I had to branch off and work for myself and find some balance so that I could be a mother to a 16-year-old at the time, now 17-year-old. And now I'm trying to find balance in being here in Halifax and traveling back to Montreal when I can so that I can balance myself. And but I find that I'm doing it more now than I was working for somebody else, right? So I'm glad that I've learned to do that. And I think it only took me falling on my ass to realize that I had to learn to balance, but it's still a process. I'm still trying to balance it. But once I figure out how to get it done, I'm going to get it done. And the rest is going to be history. But I am definitely taking more time for myself. I find with technology now, it's easier to spend time with my 17-year-old over, FaceTime, and we still have that connection. So we haven't lost anything there. So I'm
Which is
thankful
good.
for that. But yeah, you have to balance. You have to take time. You have to see yourself outside of yourself in order to really understand the importance of what you're doing and how long you're trying to do this for. So if you want to be here for a long time, you better care for yourself now so that you can watch yourself grow and be where you want to be at the end of that line. So I'm trying, honey. Fanny, I hope you have something for me this weekend, honey, because
Can
I'm
I
waiting.
say, can I just say though to you, like even though you feel like you're not or you're trying to balance it, you're doing the right thing. You're setting time aside to, even if you're not there with your teenage son, like teenage sons they're just different. Whether
God,
you're with them, whether you're with them
Preach.
Oh,
or
she
you're
has
not.
a daughter. She has a daughter.
Oh, sorry, daughter, sorry. Teenagers are just different. Like
yeah,
whether you're in the same space with them or virtually, like it's you have to you just working with what you have at that day in that moment. But even for you to set time aside to FaceTime and check in and doing that's all balance. That's all you're doing really the best that you can with what you have. That's all that anyone can even expect of themselves. And that's sometimes why I struggle with work-life balance, that term, because it makes you feel like you're never doing enough, and it makes you feel like you should be doing more, or what you're doing with what you have is like, it's not enough. And we live such like crazy lifestyles as women in business and as Black women and as entrepreneurs, that we can't just be picking up and going to the park with our kids in the evening like how most of our colleagues can do. Like, we're traveling, we're doing different things. So you setting the time aside, and that's kind of what I was saying to Tia the other day when you were like, I don't really know how to answer that question. Like, in the mornings you're driving your daughter to school and nobody can interrupt that time.
No.
And that is you practicing self-care, and that is you
Precious.
doing this time management thing, and that's you managing your life and separating that from your work. And that's you really got it. Like, you're doing all the right things. So I just wanted to encourage you by saying that you're definitely doing all the right things, Lacey.
Well, thank you for that, sweetheart. Thank you. And I just have to know, Tia knows, I also have to balance that fiance that I have there. So we're doing it all, and we're doing the FaceTimes, been in touch. We're just trying to maintain and keep
Give it a
each other.
couple of years. He'll be used to it. My fiance knows, don't even try to call me till after 8 p.m. Don't try to video call me during the day. You ain't gonna catch me.
There you
Um,
go. Great boundaries right there. There you go, girl. There you
Exactly.
go.
no, it's not a boundary. You just literally can't catch me.
Yeah,
I don't do it
can't
on
catch you.
purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in another meeting. So after a while, that balance I find with the significant others tends to work out. It's either you're in it or you're not.
Yeah.
This is what I have to do as a Black woman. I have to accomplish my goals. I have to make sure my kid is good. And unfortunately, the men or your partner do come last,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which really sucks. But as Black women, it's just a part of our core. We were raised to be independent. We were
Yeah.
raised to make everything happen with nothing. We were raised to take care of our children, even if the man walks away. We were raised to do everything. So
Absolutely.
we're so conditioned in that way that it takes a strong man. I always say, my fiance loves me. He gotta love me. Like, cause it takes
Yeah.
a strong man to be with someone like me,
Mhm.
and an even stronger man to be with someone with the schedule I have, where
Right.
they always come last.
Yeah. Can I just
So
quickly
yeah.
touch on this beautiful question that you asked? So I don't know if any of you were brought up this way. I was brought up in chaos and crisis because my parents were addicts before up until I was 10, which is part of the reason I got into this genre. But what I'm trying to say is my worth was I used to value my worth through my work. So if I was doing well in my work, then my value was good. And so I think this is a really beautiful question, maybe even not to talk, continue to discuss here, but ask yourself if what conditions you were brought up with, because I felt that that was a necessity for me. And I'm just beginning to unpack it now and say, I'm not, my work is not the value. I am value simply because I'm taking a breath, simply because my feet are planted here. So that was a poignant question, Tia, and I really hugely value this because I think there's more layers to this
Oh,
than we
absolutely.
even know, right?
And that's why I ask those type of questions so that, not just you guys hear it, but, the audience who are here tonight in the recording I'll be playing later on social media platforms and the website, those questions may trigger an individual to really look at what they're doing and what they really need to reconfigure. So yeah, I always say, like, I push an envelope, and I'm crazy with my ideas. So, um, unfortunately, there's no questions, Avril, until the end. So you want to just hold off until we're done, and then I'll allow people to do a Q&A. Perfect. Okay, well, Doria, next question. Did you experience some major setbacks in your career path? And if you did, what were they, and how did you bounce back to where you're at today?
I know she gave me the loaded question. Well, and thank you for that because you do know a little bit of the history. So I have a very interesting trajectory, as I'm sure all of us do. Mine just sort of kicked me in the teeth and then hit me behind the shins and until I was on my knees. So I used to work. I don't know if any of you know Vancouver or BC. There's a small space in the downtown. It's called the Downtown East Side. So I worked there for 10 years. And then I went to Surrey to work with women violence and gangs. And so this was all nonprofit. I got hurt and moved to Kelowna. And then I started still doing the same work in the nonprofit society. Was a manager at the shelter and then became an ED. And in a 2-month period, I lost 3 staff members and 4 family members. And I don't know what culture everybody lives with, but in my particular culture, because I'm from Antigua as well, the parent lives with us. So my mom had lived with us for 18 years and she was one of the ones who passed. So I lost 7 people and my limb essentially, which was my mom, all in 2 months, and then lost my career and in the midst of all of that, and I had burnout and the deepest grief that I could muster because, again, this is all during COVID, so folks are falling at the wayside. Plus, at that time I worked in harm reduction, so my folks were passing away. So I was never catching a breath to even say a prayer for the folks that had left. And that all happened in 2 months. And the house that we lived at, we had several washrooms, but the main one was right by my mom's bedroom. So 3 days after she passed, I said to my son, we're moving. So in the midst of all of that, I said, we're moving. So we moved as well because I couldn't. And I'm sure you understand that. I want to make a big shout out to Black women's mothers and grandmothers because they are
They are.
I'm not going to cry anyway.
Yeah,
So
don't do that. I think
nope,
me and Missy and Lacey, we all have lost a grandmother, which was a mother or a mother in the last couple of years.
okay, so you understand.
We get it. Like,
Okay.
yes.
So I did some serious soul searching and I went, I've made a lot of people a lot of money. Why can't I do this for myself? Because I'll just preface that with when I became an ED, I had one other staff member and COVID hit. And within 6 months, I had made the company $500,000. I had 31 staff members and hundreds and hundreds of clients. And I was running it from my bedroom by myself. So I know what I'm doing when you let me. But then everything crashed in and I went, I got to do some soul searching. And if I don't, my son said it so poignantly. He said, if you're not going to do it now, when will you do it? You'll never do it.
Yes.
So take the leap, Mom, and you know the net will appear. It always does. Might have a hole in it. Your foot might come through, but you won't drop. You know what I mean? So I took a small business course, and I had to make the pivot though, because the small business course would only allow you to do for profit. So now imagine me, 15 years of nonprofit, lots of, filling out forms, doing data, my jam, and then all of a sudden I had to go, okay, for profit, which it took some time. So anyways, I shared this idea with them. They thought it was great and they helped me propel forward, took that and then went on this journey, and here I am. So August 9th, I became a corporation, and I'm not even trying, it's already happening. The universe has said yes, my dear. So it's just now a matter of finding the right place and a little more capital, and I'm not concerned about that. My heart and my soul is so in this that I said there's nothing else I'm ever going to do in life but this right now. Yeah. So so it is, right? But the transition and the grief and because I also had to grieve my career, right? And I was at the top of my game. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard for a Black woman in these days.
Oh,
You know,
God.
I had to present well. I'm not gonna lie, I had to present well. You know, all day, every day, and that's exhausting. And so I just went, how do I get this freedom? How can I expand? How can I soar? And I'm just trusting in the universe. And then of course, synergy found Tia, and she's just, well, let's go, girl. And I was like, I wanna run beside you. I'm doing
Let's
it,
go.
you know. And so you never know where this journey is going to take you, but you must commit 1,000%, and be fully present, and trust that wherever it's taking you is necessary. And I there is no option, you know. Maybe sometimes I go, ah, but I'm going and I'm doing it, and I know if I stay present, I show up, I share my passion. I'm not doing anything wrong but wanting to save and change lives. If nobody wants to join me with that, I don't know what's happening in this
What's happening in the world? Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I thank you for that question, and I knew you were going to give me one of the hard ones. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Lacey, what is one habit or skill you have developed or are currently working on that's helping you thrive in your business?
Well. I had to write down some key points for this one because I think this is, and I think it's a really important one. And I'm really glad that you asked me this question. Because one habit that I had to develop is surrounding myself with like-minded people.
Mhm.
We talked about this in the beginning to you when I first met you.
Yeah.
Like on the regular, like I have to do it on a regular now. It's like something I put in my life, in my mind, in my day-to-day doings. Whatever I'm doing is something that I do, and I set out to do it. I've started to understand that in order to grow and develop into the businesswoman that I strive to be on a daily basis, I had to step outside of my comfort zone. Okay. And I had to meet new people as an introvert, because I am very much so that. Uh, and I thank Tia for bringing me outside of that comfort zone,
Oh, yeah.
because
Pushing,
you
pushing your
will,
ass.
you would never, ever, 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 if anyone knows me, you'll never see me in front of anybody doing this. Speaking, talking, singing, that's not what I do. But as an introvert, I would thrive on the hopes of being in places where I was surrounded by just people that I knew or folks I grew up with. But I had to learn to step outside of my comfort zone and ask for help. I didn't know everything when I came into business, when I came down home. And I just knew that I had a vision. I knew how to set that vision up. I just didn't know who to ask about the things that I didn't know or about the things I was unsure of. So in order for me to do that, I had to, reach out to people. And I had to reach out to amazing women like Tia, of course, whom I had no idea who this lady was. I had
Yeah,
no
I
idea.
never met her ever before a day in
I,
my life, you guys.
I had no idea who this beautiful woman was. I was being nosy, okay? Because my aunt was having a conversation and she just happened to mention Shantia Upshaw. I was like, okay, well, whatever. I heard the name. So I just went and I started looking at her TikTok videos, and I was like, you know what? Let me invite her to the grand opening and take it from there. So literally the rest is history. I was just trying to go somewhere. So I figured that she was the one to get me there. So outspoken, so outgoing, raw for Black
Yeah.
women. Who else are you going to look for to do, like, to help you to get to where you're trying to go? So now we're here months later. I walked into rooms that I would never have dared to walk into because I was afraid of who was there. And God forbid I'd have to talk and speak inside of those rooms. But I did. And that's thanks to
She even kicked me out of her store because she was going to a meeting.
Yeah.
And like every one of us knows that saying scared money don't make money, right?
We never lie.
It just doesn't. So I'm here now talking with y'all. And now I'm thriving, walking into spaces and meeting like-minded people on the regular. It's so essential. It's so key to helping you, yourself, and your business grow. You literally never know who you're going to run into, and you'll never know what you can gain from meeting them.
So true.
So
So
just
true.
keep doing it, because This ain't me. I want to throw up right now, guys, but I won't.
And this is my second time I put Lacey in front of
Yes,
individuals. I did it at the Preston Township community engagement, and I'm doing it again now. So there's always a reason behind my madness and who I ask and who I choose, because I have to push them out of the uncomfortableness. Because scared money don't make money.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Lacey.
Right.
This is for everybody. What is one thing you wish someone had told you when you were in the startup phases of your business? Are there certain things that the audience should be doing now that will help them prepare to launch into business? Anybody want to jump in?
Networking.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
Get out there.
100%.
Get out there, learn, find out who you should be talking to so you know where to go and who to talk to when the time comes. Be brave. If nobody else tells you, be like, you tell yourself to be brave and go out there and get it. Like, and watch yourself and your business grow. Like just be brave. Just go out there, network with people, rub shoulders. Like, don't get confused. It's not easy. It's like business is not, it's messy. It's not easy. But
and
you
it's
got,
not linear
yes,
at all.
out there. It requires dedication, time, sacrifice, money, your ambition, amongst other things. But start asking questions, start talking so you can start doing and build on that.
Yeah, everything
Mhm.
she said, but networking was the thing I came to my head. If I could go back to my previous person myself, 20 years ago, I would say two things. The shit's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And you have to get out of your comfort zone and talk to people, Tia. They don't care who you are or who you used to be. You have to get out there. So those would be my two. Fantasia, you want to jump in? I see you're itching over there. I can see you're moving a little.
See the energy just like trying to escape. Um, I mean, yeah, networking for sure. Like, and with that mentorship, 100%. But me personally, from my personal experience, yes, mentorship was great. But the advice that I really would have given myself back a year ago would have been to start small. If you can't manage a small team, you can't manage a large team. If you can't manage a small amount of money, you can't manage a large amount of money. So start small and pace yourself, build yourself up slowly, because we're in this for the long game, for the long run. We're not here for a short-term, project or whatever. It's not a phase. So, the slower that you can gradually build, the more sustainable it'll be. Right now, we're definitely deconstructing because full transparency, I jumped all in, had a full team, had, money that I never had before. And I had to figure all of that out. And it was really humbling. It was really humbling. And I've definitely learned so much. I don't know if I would have learned it any other way. I don't know if I would have learned it by starting slow.
You wouldn't have.
Probably wouldn't have. But that's really what I would have, that's what I would have said. I don't know if I would have listened, but that's what I would say to anybody starting out is just, start small, manage the small stuff first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missy, your
And-
mic's off. Are you trying to jump in, or was it
Oh
Dory?
yeah, I'm good whenever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dory, go ahead. Let Dory jump in.
Okay.
I was also going to say cheerleaders, folks that believe in what you believe in. And when you're down, I have this person, Christy Camp, I'm giving you a shout out, sister, because you have walked beside me, called in the middle of the night, freaking out, losing my mind, and just someone to say, I am with you, I hear you, I validate you, and I'm walking beside you. And yes, it's going to be stormy and muddy and we're going to get dirty, but it's all worth it. And when I was like, I'm scared. No, you are fearless. Remember that. You are focused. And she just reminded me of shit I didn't even remember of myself, because he was mirroring me, and someone to just you just need one person to believe in you. That's all you need. And what you cannot accomplish, I tell you. And and it helps if it's not a family member. I'm just gonna say that as well. Family members are great.
worse for you when you're trying to strive.
Right?
Um,
So that's
you
what I'm
need a
saying.
cheerleader though. And I will, echo that, a cheerleader. I know this may sound weird or all, mushy mushy. No one has ever believed in me like my fiance has.
Yeah.
When he met me, I was delivering newspapers, living in a one bedroom with 3 kids, going to food banks, back on welfare, all that stuff. That's when he met me. And, now I'm in a different realm. And I owe 99% of it to him because I didn't even want to do any of this. In the beginning, I didn't want to come out of my shell. I didn't want to face the world. I was like, no, I'm just gonna get a job. I didn't want what I didn't know I didn't want. And
Right.
he was like, there's so much more to you. Like, I don't know what happened to you, who hurt you, what trauma you're going through. But we're gonna get through it. And sure enough, we got
Oh,
through it. So you just need that one
one
person,
person.
and it changes everything. So
And
that's
don't
my
they
mushy, that's my
validate
mushy
you?
story. It
Oh,
does.
and
And
don't
it
they
does.
validate you when they see you? And it doesn't matter who it is, but when you're seen, truly, beautifully seen,
Yeah, it's
there's nothing
different.
we can't
He is my
accomplish.
cheerleader. Even when he comes to events and stuff, he is my cheerleader.
Right?
It's just different. And especially when you didn't think you were worthy enough to love yourself, and someone loved you because you couldn't love yourself. That's that's
Oh,
that's my love story. So we'll end
oh.
on that note. We're going to the next question. Or Missy, do you want to talk about it? Fantasia, you crying? Oh Lord, it's true. It is
Got us
true.
all crying, sister.
It is true.
um, yeah, like someone had told me um all of the things that I've learned more in the last 3 years than I did when I worked in spaces that were for small businesses. Um, you have to do the work. You have to put the legwork in.
Oh
And
yeah.
so one of the tips that I'd like to give people and is to also look outside to see, like, check out what all of these entrepreneur groups are doing, not just in Nova Scotia, but straight across the country.
Yeah.
What are they doing? What free stuff can you sit in and listen to? I have spent the last 3 weeks, my lunchtime from my day job, sitting in all of these different lean-ins and just soaking up the energy from all of these different women in business all over the world. Like, I'm sitting in there with a woman from Zimbabwe, somebody from Holland, somebody from California, and we have to chat about what would you say to your younger self, you know, with total strangers. And so I've been doing that for about 3 weeks. And it's really just kind of helped me loosen up a little bit more because I was starting to get really wound up. Go on Eventbrite, see what's out there for meetups and networking. Like Lacey said, just get out there. And Lacey will tell you, one of the things that I told her was, in your community, there's a business association. Join it.
Yeah.
Join that business association and go to the once a month meeting and meet other business people in your community. They'll tell you their challenges with the community. They'll tell you their successes within the community, but go do it. Yeah, so because those aren't the things that anyone's going to tell you in a startup. I worked for an organization and we just wanted you to use our stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you to go out there and use everybody, the forum,
Please.
pitch
Everywhere's.
her, everybody, Sibwe, go straight across the country, use everybody. You've got local stuff, you've got, Atlantic stuff, use it all. And somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to see you keep coming in, and they're going to, private message you and say, hey, I keep seeing you coming into our meetings. What would you like to learn a little more about? What can we put you in our mentor program? Can we bring you in to be a mentor? Because of course, when they start to see you, they start to creep you. I mean, your LinkedIn starts to get on fire. So yeah, just do it. And yes, free courses in LinkedIn too. So do that too. I'm all about the free, baby. And that free advice comes from people that are millionaires or
Yeah. Right.
millionaires.
I'm
Just
in
to
a
piggy.
program right now with Alnor Beaton, and
Mm,
yeah, I can't talk too much about it, but her working with me one-on-one with regards to my pitch when I'm asking for money to leverage money is exactly what I've been saying, but right to the fucking point. And you guys will see a video soon because she had all of us do these videos. I want to say,
Oh,
sorry, I want to say this leads me into my next question. Because it is already 6 minutes after 8. What Missy said about joining places, going places, all these things. Um, I will say, just to bounce off that, just ensure it's a safe space for you.
Yeah.
Do not be eager to jump to all these organizations and spaces if it's not conducive to you as a person. If
mm,
you feel like, it's draining your energy to continually be in these spaces, then, you have to take a step back and maybe that space ain't for you. That doesn't mean what Missy said isn't valid. It just means make sure that space is safe for you guys. So I just want to add that.
And I love that because I think also ask questions. You're allowed to decide by what questions you ask and what answers they give you. Are they speaking the answers so they can check the box, or are they living it in the rooms? And if they are not, you are valid and okay to walk away. She is so
Mhm.
right. So
yeah.
right.
Here you read my mind because that's like what Missy was talking about. I did go to the Cole Harbor meeting. I was the only Black woman that showed up, and they were like, what? Like, how did she get here? How did she know? Like, so just ask the question, show up, ask
Yeah,
the question.
show up, always show up. But I know firsthand it is very draining.
Yeah.
It's so draining. And I'm at that point now where I've walked away from a lot in a lot of organizations, because I'm tired of being the person to educate you when you have no intention of or recreating your culture. It's not, it hasn't changed 3 years ago, last year, year before. What makes this year any different? And I decided to walk away for my own mental health because as a Black woman, it is already difficult enough out here. And then we think we're going to have the support from organizations or associations that are not there for us. It's not for us by us type of mentality. So just be careful, everybody. Anybody who sees this later on, just be mindful of where you're putting yourself in. Do not stay somewheres because you feel like if you don't stay, your business is not going to be recognized. Find your tribe. Find the people, your network that is meant for you. My network is different than Missy's network. Missy's network is different than Fantanish's. We all have networks are also different, but they're all valid to the core of us as Black women.
Mhm. And it's funny, TA, that you said that, because that is something that did happen to me in January. I, you know, kind of like fell into this uh hole, I guess you could say. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is great. Da, 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 da. Paid for a membership, the whole bit. And then I had odd conversations with people afterwards. And I was like, yeah, no, this isn't for me, and pulled my membership because it didn't,
Feel
it
right.
was all about it was a consulting world, right? And I was like
Yeah.
all about wanting all of that consulting knowledge and education. And then it was like, no. And it was 2 months of fighting to get that membership back and pulled, because there was no actual fit for my membership with them, which
It's,
again,
it's
I
quite
like
sad.
free.
You will go down rabbit holes, you guys. You will feel like there's nothing out there for you, or you feel like you're trying to fit in somewhere, and you have to go through the process. I call that being in the thick of it. When you're in the thick of it, it's because you're growing in your business and you're scaling your network. You're scaling not only your numbers, but you're scaling your network and your professional being as yourself as a Black businesswoman is now ready to enter into spaces that you would never dream that you're supposed to be in. And that's why it starts feeling icky. I call business messy. Being a Black business owner, a woman business owner is very messy. It continues to be messy, at no fault of your own. It is just how it's set up. It's intentionally made to be messy for us. I was on a podcast, and sorry to get off topic, but I was on a podcast today with Keontae, and he asked me about representation and why that really matters. And the quote from Malcolm X that Beyonce spoke on stage at one of her concerts: to protect the Black woman, to love a Black woman, to honor, I think it's honor a Black woman. And me and him both agreed when we were speaking, and he said it, and I said in that order. First, it has to be a Black man needs to protect the Black woman. Then it needs to be the Black community protecting the Black woman. And then the outside world can then become an accomplice or an ally to the Black woman. And I use an example of Angela Bassett. What happened to her at the Oscars was bullshit. She had too many accolades, too much of this, too much of that. And people are just sick and tired of seeing it. So she just didn't win. So this was my point. I said to Keontae, that situation itself rings truth to what Malcolm X was saying about protecting a Black woman. Two men did come to her defense. But what really rubbed me the wrong way, and I actually put it on Facebook, that there's so much outrage on my timeline for Angela Bassett. But this shit's happening right here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And where's that outrage? Where
BC
is
too.
where is the Black community when this stuff happens to Black women here who deserve to be, accredited? They built accomplishments, accolades, everything else, but no one wants to see it. And the minute that Black woman calls it out, that Black woman is then being a victim. She's being extra. She's sucking. She's a petulant child. The list just keeps going on. So if you can have that outraged Black community of Halifax, Nova Scotia, or Nova Scotia itself, for Angela Bassett, who you'll never see, keep that same energy for a Black woman that may be your next door neighbor when that shit happens to her, because it's happening here. So I just had to say that because I had to get it off my chest because it's real. Let's go to the next question before we lose time. What advice, this is for everybody, you can jump in. What advice would you give a Black woman entrepreneur to start taking the necessary steps in her business if she wants to start a business today? What are the steps?
Join BWIE.
Oh yeah,
I was just
thinking
say
about
that.
that.
That and
Oh, you're
done.
good, Missy. You're good.
Oh,
She
I
answered the question.
didn't even think about that. I literally was thinking, get a business name, reserve it. I was
No,
this way.
No.
we're here.
Join a cohort of yours. Get a mentor, and do it. And
Well, thank you.
surround yourself. Join every 2 weeks, right? On the
Yeah.
Wednesday, surround yourself with like-minded people and cheerleaders, and trust and believe in yourself.
Absolutely. Fantastic. You're on mute, but you're shaking.
No, like that's a loaded question. Like I get that. Like when you like, where do we start? But definitely like through networking, through mentorship. Like I had a young lady that was like, I want to take part in this workshop, self-care for Black entrepreneurs. And I was like, well, do you have a business yet? She's like, not really, no. I'm like, okay, like get attached to these groups because you could be inspired in them, even if you don't have an idea. Your ideas can change, your passions can change, you're testing things out. Like what your idea is today might be different than what it is 5 months from now, 6 months from now. As long as like your passion, like your core purpose is the same, as long as you can identify what that is, you have room to wiggle and grow. And I think when you're surrounded by like minds, people who are going to challenge you and grow you and show you the steps,
Yes.
and that's what it is. And it looks different for everybody. Some I didn't register my name right away. At first I was putting ads on Kijiji and Facebook, which is horrible actually for massage therapists to put it on Kijiji. Never. I would never recommend anybody as a massage therapist to ever do that.
Talk about not a safe space.
Yeah.
It's not a safe space
For massage
like,
therapists.
geez.
I'm not putting Kijiji down. I'm just saying.
No, that's
They got a great ending.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
They're getting
like,
a great ending.
all the questions, all the scenarios. but I was like working on getting the clientele, seeing like, you know, how I could actually grow this thing. My name when I first started was a mess. And then I changed my business name, thank God, to what it is now. Like, but definitely like allowing yourself space, you know, space to grow and connecting with people who, at the time I did have a friend, she was an RMT who was in business too. So I could bounce these back and forth. So just connect with like minds for sure. That's what I would say.
And can I also
Absolutely.
say having an open mind? Because I think if you come from a space of, I've got an idea and I'm going to run with it and I think I know it all, there is nothing
work.
that you will, there's no end to entrepreneurship. I choose to learn something or more than one thing every day because I'm not doing this, I am doing this, and I'm allowing for myself to be vulnerable, for myself to not know everything, for myself to grow and change, and to be kind to myself because I don't know this. Like, it's like anything. If you look at it, when you start a new job, do you not give yourself 3 months to like learn all the nuances and how they do things and whatever? So wouldn't you give yourself a much longer time than that to learn this? Like, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
It's not I
You
always say it's not for the weak.
no, it's not for
It's
the faint of heart.
not. It's not.
Bubble wrap your shit and walk through the door because it's coming at you. And you just got to trust in that, but you also have to know that I am willing to absorb the knowledge. If a gatekeeper and a knowledge keeper like Tia and Christy come to me and say, I want to share this knowledge with you, the first thing I'm going to do is how can I be of service? How can I learn? How can I grow
Yeah.
and change? Thank you. Thank you. And maybe some of it I might know, but I guarantee if your ears are open, you will get nuggets. And people want to give that information to you, but they know when the resistance is there.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
just allowing, right? Wouldn't you agree, Tia? You
I
just
absolutely agree.
right?
100%.
Yeah, yeah, and seek out the knowledge as well. So say today, oh, by 3 o'clock, if I haven't learned anything, I gotta go seek it out. I gotta figure out what do I gotta learn something today. You know what I mean? And just allow yourself. And I take copious amounts of notes. You know, like I want to know what you're sharing, and I'm interested and I'm present because how do I learn and grow and change? And maybe one day I'll be able to pay it forward. And this is all
Absolutely.
as Black females, if we continue to do this, what we cannot conquer, you know, and that's what this forum, this setup, this safe space is for us right now to say, hey, baby girl, here's the information, pay it forward. Here's some more information.
I'm big on that. I tell a lot of women,
Support
like,
her.
any information you got, make sure you pay it forward to another Black woman.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I'm doing because I can. I was able to, scale my businesses to where they're at. So why would I just hog all that information and, the ups and downs of business and not really put information out there for other Black women, how I was able to do this? Why would I hog that? Doesn't make sense. You put it out there for the world to see. You are then uplifting other Black women, so they can then uplift other Black women, and it keeps going. And if we keep doing that, the power in numbers, I believe power in numbers. And the more Black women we have in Canada and primarily Nova Scotia, the better. We're the ones that are taking care of our households. You can have a partner, a husband, whatever it is. At the end of the day, I only one queen in the house. My house is my home. And everything I do through my household, my daughters have watched. So both my daughters have businesses. It will just keep trickling down. So yes, make sure any golden nuggets you take in, you give back out when you're done with them for the next Black
We're
woman behind you.
we're so good at that, and I think that's our gift as Black women, is like, if we win, we're bringing other people along with us. So when a Black woman wins, it's her community that wins, it's her family that
So
wins, it's her
true.
country, it's the nation. Like,
Yeah.
that's what's so special about Black women in general. It's really a gift that we have. Everything that you all have like taught me, anyone who comes to me and asks me something, I'm just like pouring everything out. Like, I'm just making sure that, any resource that I have, anything that I can share with you, I'm making sure that you can do it so that you can bless your family, and that, you share that with your friends and your family members, and everyone can win together. Like that's
Yeah,
I'm
that is
just,
our gift.
it
We
is our
sparkle.
gift.
We sparkle. Yes.
But
Uh,
can, can
Missy,
you
you're up.
imagine? But can you imagine if 200 years ago, a woman in a township who was a basket weaver didn't teach somebody else how to make a basket?
There would not be no
We
baskets. Wouldn't have no
we would
baskets.
we wouldn't be sitting here,
No.
because it's those
So
women
true.
that, brought that trade and taught other women how to make those baskets,
Yeah.
you know? And what did they put in those baskets? Well, the vegetables that they grew in their gardens. And then they transported that into the townships so that people could buy their produce. Like these 200-year-old 200-year-ago entrepreneurs, if they didn't do that, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
It's
Mm.
so true.
So we're supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be teaching people how to make a basket. We're supposed to be teaching people how to garden, because they did it. We should be doing it.
And can I just say one thing? That's one of the things I really truly value. I don't know about other cultures, but Black grandmothers and Black mothers really share their lineage and their knowledge. And I think that's one of the reasons we are so tight, sisters and mothers and grandmothers, because they're sharing their nuggets of knowledge and gifts, and it passes through. Like I hear my mom speaking out of my mouth some days, telling my son stuff that she told me that and it's unconscious, it's subconsciously, it's just happening. And he's like, "Oh, where'd you learn that?" I'm like, we called her Baba.
Amen.
Baba, you know what I mean? Grandma,
Yeah, yeah.
Gma. And we used to call her Gma back in the day, right? But just, and when you think of it coming from a sense of pride and a sense of, wow, I'm now the knowledge keeper to pass it on. Like,
Mhm.
right? And what
Mhm.
a gift that is, and a luxury, but it's also a deep responsibility. And
Oh,
own
it's
that.
huge. It's
Own
huge.
that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is true. Okay, let's go to our next question. Missy, this goes to you. What are some of the resources you have used within the Black community to help get your business up and running?
Well, so this is my third business. So my first was an um, holistic massage business. Oh my gosh, like 18 years ago. And then I was an independent travel agent. And during that time, I actually approached an organization for some support, because I was one of only three Black independent travel agents in the Halifax area. So I was pretty sure I was going to get some support, and I didn't. I started working for the Center for Entrepreneurship, Education, and Development, and paid really close attention to the business advisors that I worked with and to the loans officers that I worked with. And I learned a lot from the 7 of them. They taught me so much about business. Um, and so when COVID hit, of course, as everybody did, I had to pivot. Um, I I was approached by Black women who were like, "I heard about your skills. I heard about your skills," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna use these skills finally!" And so I've just grown because of the support of the community. I've grown because of the support of the Black women who've seeked me out and wanted me. Um, it's not been the reverse. Um, Sadly, I wish that I could have had the support more of our community, but I haven't. And
Oh my God, not the tears. My God, here we go tonight. Not the tears. Doria, keep your tears to yourself.
it's really hard being in this space and being a woman who is trying to grow a business that is viable. I know it's viable because I've never had to go to anybody for assistance. But what would have been great was to be able to have walked through those doors with my very viable business and said, I would love your support so that I could, you know, have a space, rent a space, not be virtual, be in the space where I could work with people. But you can only hear no so many times.
Mhm.
And, 10 years as a travel agent, 10 years. And I didn't do individual travel. I did groups. I did 70 people. I did large groups. And that was viable. But when I walked through those doors for support, um, they want to know who my husband was. What part of the business was my husband? None. It's my business. It's not his business. It's my business. I shouldn't have to worry about needing him. I've worked my whole life, you
Yeah.
know. It just hurts because I'm hoping that in 2023, that this isn't going to keep happening to young women who are looking for funding. I'm 55. I'm finally, can say um, that I, you know, I finally have a logo, a
Yeah.
logo that was designed by a professional. I will
Yeah.
have a website in 2 weeks that was designed by a professional because I got funding from another organization. You know, I should be able to walk into an organization where everybody looks like me and be able to throw down and say, look what I got. And for them
That's
to
Missy.
just,
Congratulations. Come in, Missy. Absolutely.
that's what I'm looking for. I'm tired of the fight. I'm really tired of the fight. Um, I talked to somebody last week and it was about it's the same thing. And something that I said to them was, I don't even have a mortgage anymore. I have no mortgage, you know? I don't even know how many cars I've owned, but I still have to ask and bring him along. Come on,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
you
I feel
know?
you. I feel you, Missy, and I got no man to bring along, unfortunately.
Right,
But I hear
right.
you, and it's hard because it squashes your passion. It squashes who you are as a human. It squashes the drive that you have, and you just want to say, "Can you not hear me? Like, look at my financials. This is gonna work. This is
Yeah.
not, you ain't taking a big risk. Why can't you see me and say yes?"
Doria, it's frustrating because I know in the States they call it a 401k and up here we call it something else. Yeah, I've got that, but I don't want to dig into that. That's for retirement. I'm not
I
touching that,
know. They said the same
you
thing to
know?
me.
Like, why
Yeah.
should I have to dig into that?
It's tiring because colleague, I don't know if it was Missy a few weeks back, what fight do you fight?
Right?
Like you get to a point, what fight do I fight? As a CEO of Black Women in Excellence, which is the only or non-for-profit organization or for profit, if it was for profit, that's ever had a mandate in the maritime to work with Black women. No one else has ever done this. But what fight do I have to continuously fight? I got to pick a fight a day. Who do I advocate for? How do I advocate? What am I going up against? What financial institution? What government? What this? What, like, the list just keeps going on. And then when you add another layer that I'm a businesswoman too. So now I have to fight for my businesses along with the organization and everybody else who's a part of the organization. It gets to a point where it is tiring. I don't cry like very easy. So for me, no, honestly, I really don't. I just my life has not wasn't really easy. So for me, I built up that
Yeah,
that shell. So I don't cry. I
yeah.
find it more awkward when people are crying than anything.
I'm
I'm just like,
sorry.
"Oh my God." Not you, Missy. Even my
It's
kids will
me,
say,
Missy.
my
It's me. I'm sorry.
no, no,
So
no.
with
My kids will tell you guys, like, we'll cry and we'll be like, Mom, I know you don't do the crying. It's not that I don't do the crying, but when you come
yeah,
from what I came from, been through what I've been through, that you build up that shell where you don't have anybody being able to penetrate to hurt you again. So for me,
right.
it's just a little bit different. But
Yeah,
what I will say, if I was a crier, this shit would break me every day. Every day I'm fighting some type of fight to, equalize Black women entrepreneurs on the same platform as every other, not just white, every other, because it's
Mhm.
every other, and then it's us.
Yep.
Yep.
It's like the equity for women hashtag they have going around for International Women's Month.
Girl.
Does that pertain to Black women?
Absolutely not.
Where's the fight
Ugh.
for us?
And I hate
So
to
Right.
say it, the whole feminist movement, I saw a recent post about it and it resonated with me. It's like the feminist movement was really to liberate white women. It had nothing to do with Black women
and not
voices.
we weren't even a part of it.
We
No.
weren't even a part of it. And I was like, always like, why do I not resonate with this? Like, I'm not fighting the gender equality fight or the wage equality fight. I'm fighting a whole different fight.
My
Like
fight is
Yep.
different.
we're
Yep.
just trying to fight just to be seen and heard, recognized, acknowledged,
Yeah.
the
Valued.
basic,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
it's the hierarchy of needs. If you don't have that basic, we can't even get to the wage conversation.
You
We
know how
can't even
sad
get
that is? That she's saying basic, you guys, and that's all we're looking for is to be the basic.
Yeah.
But
That's all we
Tia,
want is the basic.
And there ain't a basic bitch here. Sorry.
No,
You know what I'm
no,
saying. You know
no,
what
I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. I ain't basic.
That's what I said. There ain't a basic bitch
No.
here.
No, but in all
It's
jokes aside, you
crazy.
guys, what Fantasia is saying is absolutely 100% to the nail. She should be a carpenter. She should have been
Valid,
a carpenter because she hit the nail on the head.
valid.
It was not developed for us. I have all these fundings, and I've
Yeah.
said this to you guys before, maybe not in this platform, but in different conversations. Indigenous Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter movement will soon not matter.
Yeah.
it's
And
already
I say
starting.
that, and you can see it. You can see it through the government funding. You can see it coming down the streamline. You can see what's now the in trend.
Mm-hmm.
What a
And
travesty.
it is becoming a travesty. So for Fantasia to say the basic, it's absolutely that's all we want. We just want a little smidget. Just give us a little basic respect.
Oh, little small piece.
This is
Yeah.
Well, I
small.
just want to say, Missy, we see you. We see you.
Yes,
We
we
see,
do.
we
And Missy,
see.
I do appreciate you even sharing that because sometimes I am from a place of privilege because I grew up in an area and in a time where Black women do have all this opportunity and we have all this funding and we have these DEI initiatives or these spaces
Oh
that are
God.
we're just like there's a seat that's somewhere that people are putting aside for us, so we have more opportunities. And so I have such a low tolerance for being in spaces that I don't see myself in. And I feel like I have to constantly fight and defend myself. But it's really nice to hear you say that because you have much more resilience than
Oh,
me.
100%.
You really do, because you've really had to fight for everything that you have and to be in the space that and the place that you're in. So when you're in other spaces that maybe are anti-Black, you have that kind of armor built up. You have that resilience where you're like, I don't care what these people are saying. I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. And I'm here to create this space and to be this example. And I'm going to push and fight and do those things, which is powerful for me because I don't necessarily have that. I'm like, if I don't see myself here, I don't have to tolerate it and I'm out. And it's not necessarily the best approach all the time because I could be missing out on opportunities.
Mhm.
And I am
will
missing
say,
out on opportunities.
Missy, I will say this to you. The fight that you fought all these years, like you and Bernadette, Sylvia's, all you guys. I surround myself with the aunties, as people call them, my aunties. I do that because you guys may have outgrown to be in certain spaces, or you're tired of that fight. You're exhausted from the fight. But now I'm here at 42, and I'm
Yes.
willing to go. I'm willing to go to fucking war for all of us.
Yes.
Bottom line, everybody knows that about me. So everything that you guys are feeding me and educate me on, Missy, everything I learned from you in the last year, that stuff is taken into spaces.
Yeah.
Look at Missy. We go from you doing the pitch competition as my consultant to now people booking me to do diversity, equity, and inclusion keynote speakings. Where did I get that from, Missy? From being around you. So trust
Honestly.
me, nothing is going unnoticed.
No.
Like
Mm.
what you're doing
Your
is
tears,
valuable to me.
Not from a,
your tears are definitely, they just fire us up even more, and we don't want to see that pain, and it makes me more angry, and I'm sure it makes Tia more angry, because we're like, it's not fair that y'all had to fight that hard. So now that we are in a space and opportunity where we do have more opportunities and more privileges, like,
Get it?
you better best believe that we are really going for it all.
Mhm.
We're
Tia,
going for it all.
your behalf, Missy. I promise you, we got her
Well,
back on.
I just put on Facebook yesterday. I was like, fuck the crumbs. We want the whole table.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
right.
Done. Done with the
Honestly.
crumbs. We're
Oh,
done
no.
with the crumbs. So if that gives you guys some laughter tonight, but Missy, like I said, trust me, you may be tired of the fight, you may be exhausted or just don't want to be out there no more. But everything you're feeding me, Missy, is your words are coming into me and it's coming out in my words the way I speak. But everything is from you. The diversity, equity, and inclusion, accessibility, all that strategies and training, education. Who did I get that from? No one else in my realm talks about that but Missy Searle. So, now I'm able to go in these spaces that you're tired of being in, and I'm shaking it up because I come out on stage with F this, F that, F this, F that, where people have to listen. I'm talking about F the accomplices. I mean, F the allies. I'm only taking accomplices at this point. Where did I get that from, Missy?
Yeah.
Missy gave me that term. And I said to Missy, accomplice makes me feel very uncomfortable. It's re-traumatizing me because of my criminal history. So
Right.
using that word accomplice really
Look, Missy started a whole new trend.
she
The
did.
accomplice.
So
That's
Missy
all
brought
we're
that to me.
accepting.
She brought that to me back in December, and I was really uncomfortable because of my background, right? Like, when you're in jail and all this stuff, being an accomplice, that's a negative connotation to something. And then me realizing the background of it, now it's all I talk about. That's all I
Right.
talk about. No more allyship. I don't want no applications for that. I'm only
No.
taking applications for accomplices.
Yep. Yep.
Preach.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Woo.
I'm
It's getting
sorry.
real up in here.
Yep, this is the better version, though, you guys. Guess what? Here's the question. What is next for your guys' entrepreneurship journey? Where would you like to see your business 5 years down the road? I'm just curious. I bet everybody else is going to be too. Who
I'm
wants
going
to
to be
jump
on a
on that
beach working
first?
remotely.
Say that again, Missy. I missed it.
I'm going to be on a beach working remotely
Ooh,
because
yeah.
I'll be semi-retired.
Love it.
Oh,
it.
no,
Yeah.
but all honesty, I want my boys to be in this. I want them to, take this on. Yeah, I really want it to kind of migrate into a family business because Daniel does the website stuff and that. Chris is all about podcasting. And so I want to bring their skills
Nice.
into this space so that it's a family affair. So.
Yeah.
Doria, what is yours?
I'm going to have 3 houses open, and I've already talked to the city, and I find this interesting. I said, I want you to help me with the land, and I want to open a healing center where all can come. So it's somewhere where everybody can come. So I said, you guys build it and then stay the fuck out of it. Let
Yeah.
us do our healing.
Let
They
you
laughed. I didn't
in.
use the F-bomb because I was talking to the city, but they know what I mean, right? Because I have worked for them in the past. But so I want 3 houses. I want us to be a community name. I'm giving back to Mom Stop the Harm, folks who have been devastated by their children, their mothers, their aunts, their sisters, their aunties, everyone who has succumbed to overdose and to this disease that is crippling. And I want to give women entrepreneurship. I want to teach them, we're not giving you a fish, we're teaching you how to fish. I want community members. I want paying it forward. I want to see you connect with your family, get educated if you want to, do entrepreneur, whatever. I want you to dream again. I want to be able to give you the gift of hope again. So 3 houses and a healing center, and then I'm out.
Well, listen, I can't wait to see. And
Right?
I'm ready to ride the journey with you, girl. Ready to ride it with you. Fantastisch, what about you?
Well, I mean, our whole vision is really to create therapeutic and inclusive spaces within our communities, and it's so nice that we've been able to do it in the clinic in this year, and that's something that of course we're going to grow. But my goal next is to really grow that vision and bring like holistic self-care education into the communities. I've already started working on different programming and working with different community organizations where we're gonna like go in and develop like health and healthy living and wellness programs for people that are living in communities that are historically excluded from healthcare conversations, and they don't have access to this education. So that's all that I've really been just focused on and so passionate about the last few months. What's that?
I think you said that's all. No,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's big.
That's really that's it. And now that I know that Misty was an independent travel agent and you did holistic massage, which I don't know how we never talked about that before, but we're gonna have to have a big conversation about that. But the traveling bit, something that I really want to like work on this year is doing these wellness retreats, ancestral wellness retreats. So I just came back from an amazing one from Costa Rica with flow meditation. That was a beautiful experience, and I want to recreate that and make sure like Black folk can experience that. Going back to our nations, starting in Africa, going to the Caribbean, and being in Black spaces, like every Black person needs to experience that, like for our spiritual health and our mental health. Just, I want to give that, I want to help facilitate that in some sort of capacity. That's really where my mind is.
And hit me
Wow,
up. I got tons of programs that are holistic. Anything you need, I'm willing to give it to you, sister. Let's spread the love and the holisticness.
Absolutely. I'm willing to take anything.
I love it. Actually, I didn't know you were going that far with it. I didn't know that. Oh, not a problem, Erica. You can watch it again if you want to watch the ending part, but thank you for joining us. I didn't know that about Missy either, because if I did, I would have connected Missy with you a few weeks ago when you mentioned about it. And now you know. So I hope you guys connect and talk about it, because that would be something huge for the Black community. And Lacey, what about you?
Well, short-term goal this weekend, the BWIE retreat. I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that. Now, if we're talking 5 years down the road from now, I'd like to see DJTV multiply. I envision more boutiques than one across Halifax, Nova Scotia, hiring and training staff within my communities, and thriving, all while being on the board of BWIE.
Yeah.
I'm putting that on my board. I'm putting that on my vision board because I just see so many things for you as well, Tia. So I see so many things
Absolutely wonderful,
and
because
Doria, Missy, for all of you, I see all of you thriving within the next 5 years. So I'm excited to see it all.
well, there's certain people I will be reaching out to because I want to revamp the board anyways and all that jazz. And I am actually expanding BWIE to BC. So that's Doria will be heading that chapter in BC and all that jazz. So I do need a more strategic board, a board who really wants to be involved here. Because a lot of my energy will have to then, work with Doria out there. So I'm glad to hear you say that,
Ooh,
Lacey.
girl, I see you knocking down doors in Montreal too. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, we're doing it.
Come on, honey.
Yeah,
Let's
and
get those
it
chapters
can be
going.
done. It can be done.
Let's
I've
get
watched.
those chapters
Yeah,
going.
absolutely. All the chapters right straight across.
I always say that every Black woman needs a Shantia Upshaw.
Oh,
Every woman needs.
not everybody can handle it. Trust me. Not everybody can take me.
Oh, I can ride with you, girl. I can ride with you.
If they can't handle it, it means they're not built for it, honey.
Right?
That's is.
Oh, I'm so glad for this night. So now I'm going to be able to go to these women on this platform and say, "Hey, board, I need you." Blah blah blah. But honestly, BWIE is expanding. It's growing quite quickly. And yeah, I want more people. At the board I have now, I love them to death, but they're just a governing board. They're just there. The go get is not really there to be really involved, and it's just so I really want someone, and people that want to be on the board that want to be vocal and visual and fight the same fight and be out there and be at the events, be at the, pop-up shops, be a part of BWIE, just not as a board member. Be a part of it. Feel it, breathe it, live it, eat it, and shit it if you have to.
Right?
Okay, well, does anybody have any questions? Tanya, Princess, or I think that's Avro. Do you have any questions for the ladies?
I have a question for Miss Doria, I think.
Yeah, get that right, Doria. She
Yeah.
got your name right.
Thank you.
My question is, what is your advice to a Black woman who is starting? I know we asked that question, who is starting off, but in a holistic point of view, since that is your background, I believe, what would be your advice for somebody who basically has lost everything, meaning marriage, family, and still holding on to a business that haven't made much in the last 3 years since it has started?
Well, first, thank you for your honesty and vulnerability, and I'm right there with you. I don't know if I've completely pulled myself out, but it's a journey, not a destination. And I applaud you for putting your feet on the ground every day, because that in itself takes strength. That is, it's no small feat, and we downplay it. So I want to applaud you. The question is very loaded. I would be happy to leave my email and we can discuss further for sure. Do you mind me asking what business you do? What holistic genre you're in? Just so I can have a better idea of how to answer your question.
Yeah, I partnered with a company called Uplands Global in Toronto, and what we do was selling herbal products,
Okay.
fashion, beauty, and jewelry. And I was more focusing on the health products, whether it's oral supplements or toothpaste, whatever it is. We try and do that. And in doing this business for 3 years, now I'm going through a divorce. Now my daughter hurt me, and I feel that, that I've given it everything, and I think I'm holding on to something that I don't like. I'm just holding on, but I have lost everything else, I think.
Doria, this is a loaded
Let's have a
question.
deeper question, deeper
So
conversation.
can you put your email in there, Doria, so she can
Now,
write your email down? And
absolutely.
Avril, I honestly would recommend talking to Fantanish too, because she has that way of speaking. Doria and Fantanish at some point. I kind of know where you're at, Avril, and I will say this: the art of letting go is letting go. If something is not working, it's not working. And I had this conversation with Pantanish before. Just because you're letting something go, it doesn't mean you're not successful. It doesn't mean you failed. It just meant that this is not your season for that. Making that tough decision is being successful because you're being a
Absolutely.
boss. Bosses make decisions that are tough, that may not be, beneficial for them in the interim, but long term it is.
Yeah.
And I would be happy to talk to you too later on, Avril. I am so sorry. You're on my social media and you would never know that about you, darling. So I am sorry that you're going through that.
No worries.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
And
if
can I
if
just say, surround yourself with reach out to us, because one thing that grows in isolation is the pain. The pain gets bigger, it gets stronger, it gets more palpable in isolation. So if you can reach out, even with a quick email of hey, or a text, or whatever you need, just let us envelop you in support and compassion, and we will walk beside you to get you through. And that's why I wanted to say I honored you to put your feet on the ground every day. And I believe as long as you have breath inside of you, anything is possible. But just reach out to us, please, and let us however we can be there, we will support you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just jump on really quick? I don't exactly know what you're going through, what you went through, but I went through like a very similar situation. I gave birth to twins and separated from their father less than a year later. So I was, yeah, Missy, it was really here, and I was living in a hotel for 3 months with my, yeah, Missy, with the twins and my
Was.
and my 12-year-old. He was 11 at the time, so it was 3 of us, 3 months in a cramped up apartment. I separated from both of their dads, so it was just me and them. And it took me a while to get back on my feet, but all of that emotion and anger and frustration and pain, I'm not gonna like discount, you know, the pain, but I just channeled all of that into passion, put it into the business, and with that, I ended up making all these crazy risks and taking all these crazy risks, but I was able to open up and expand my commercial practice. So and I'm not saying it's going to be an easy road for everybody, and people heal and process things differently. But I just wanted to share that with you is that I was going through something similar, and what I did that helped me was kind of channel that energy into my business. And my business wasn't doing great before my separation. And then when I separated, I was able to really grow it because I had nothing else to focus on. It was just me and my kids, and I was like, this is my time. I have nobody else to think about other than, you know, me and my dream, my passion, and these children. So that really kind of pushed me in that direction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am going to get everybody to look at the chat. Everybody's emails in there. Avril already has my email. Tanya does have a question. Tanya, darling, are you still there? Oh, here she is. Yes.
Let me just first start by saying, oh my gosh, this conversation was so inspiring, and I just feel so pumped. Doria, like your energy and the area that you work in, I don't know if you're a social worker. I have been for 22 years. Yeah. And so my question is around this. So I worked for government of Alberta for 17 years, almost 22 years now as a registered social worker. I resigned my job in Alberta because I knew that I would always move back home to Nova Scotia, and that my calling was to help women, in particular Black women, heal. Number one, from racial trauma. I've been studying anti-Black racism since I was like 15 years old. It's what I've written all my theses in. My degrees are all in it. That is my passion. So I left my government job, moved my family here, accepted an executive director position at a nonprofit.
I know the feeling.
Was not for me. I gave it a year and I resigned. So now here I am, 46, doing a nice little pivot. and considering, and this is my question to you, considering, and I heard the advice earlier, but considering I don't want to work for anyone. I've worked my ass off and have lived on my own since I was 15 years old. Hustle, put myself through high school, my own apartment, like just clean toilets at a Dairy Queen to pay my rent. Like I've worked my ass off. I don't want to work for anyone. If I'm going to put that kind of energy and hustle in, I want it to be for me, to benefit me and the people that I am here to serve, because I'm all about healing racial trauma and healing through self-compassion. That's my thing. And but my question is, I've been thinking about, there's a lot of private practice practitioners here. And so you said, Doria, earlier, because I'm like, you're the healing center. I'm like, those words are in the name of my business that I am looking to register as well.
Energy.
we need a center, a one-stop shop for Black people to come and have all of our needs, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, met. We deserve that. Right? We deserve to heal and we deserve to thrive. Yeah. My predicament is, do I just begin my business slowly online. And I'm already working on the business plan, the grant proposals, because I did spend some time at this nonprofit as an ED. I know about the grant writing and where to get money and, you know, to kind of where to slot us. So like that sort of stuff. So that was good. So do I do that, or do I leverage my house? I haven't talked to the bank yet, but I bought a house that's worth some money, took all my money out of Alberta and bought this one. And do I leverage my house to get myself a loan, a small business loan, to open my facility, to go
No.
big, like
No.
go all in and open
Number
my
one
facility?
rule, never use your own money.
Don't use my own money.
Never. Yeah,
No, never.
number one, when you're opening a business,
Yeah.
the leverage with the private investor or something like that, or savings you had or whatever, one thing, but not
Yeah.
your home. You
Not my
never
home.
mix the
Never.
two.
Okay.
No, that is
Never
your
mix
safe
the two.
space.
Okay.
Right.
I said that to my husband. I'm like, are you good if we like put our home up to get this business going? He's like, whatever you want, babe. Like,
Oh gosh.
you know.
My,
Yeah,
my
and we
fiance would
love
tell me,
him,
are you
but
crazy?
yeah, we love him, but open a social enterprise and then you can do not-for-profit and make money, right? And so
Okay.
you're still getting the grants, you're still getting everything. And a social enterprise speaks to the community, right? So I used to run a social enterprise for a different folks. Anyways, but do the social enterprise piece because you get profit and you're doing the community, and that's your healing center, right? So then you've covered both, and you can get the grants and you can do what you need to do, okay? And then you can feed your soul and the community all at once, right? Right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Energy.
yes.
And
So-
take my email down and let's talk.
I totally will. My other quick question, I want to give others a chance. My other quick question is, if you don't mind, the idea of, because there are other women who are doing this and have been doing this for a while, who have approached me and said, like, why don't we do this together? You know, and I'm like, do I go into business on my own? Or do I go in? Tia, are you laughing at me?
No, Tia, I just gave the same face at the exact same
Tanya,
time.
we
Yeah.
had this conversation at the boutique.
Yes.
I know, but I'm like, but what these other women are bringing is substantial, and we all specialize because we're all therapists, we're all social workers, and we all specialize in different areas. Like, for example, I don't do child therapy. I don't do play therapy, but one of the ladies that I'm talking to specializes in that. Like, that's her niche. And there's not a lot of Black therapists in Nova Scotia that specialize in child play therapy, for
So
example.
I'm contracting my folks out.
Hire,
I'm contracting my
Yeah,
folks out.
contract them
So
out.
I'm just going to say that I'm bringing in the world, but I am contracting them. They are not partnerships with me.
Nope.
I want to say that.
Partnerships
And
are
then
messy. Very messy, Tanya. Partnerships are very, very, very messy. I had a partnership with my fiance and we ended it 3 years ago now, because it was getting messy. His direction was not my direction. So we just decided to end it because it was really getting involved in our relationship.
Yeah.
Partnerships are messy, especially when you're talking about a social enterprise. There's too much passion with a purpose involved, which means no one's thinking business. Everybody's thinking their passion. No one's thinking financial restraints and expenses. Everybody's thinking, oh, I want to help the world. You really would want to do it by yourself, as a sole proprietorship, incorporate it within a year, and then have consultants, hire them in as consultants. If I
And
want
contract
someone,
work.
Missy does my stuff for me. I don't do well with certain things. Missy, I got money. I'm going to use you to consult you to do the pitch competition, to do the retreat, to do all kinds. She has all kinds of mid stuff for me too. Doesn't mean I have a whole people on a part of BWIE. It is founded and I am the CEO. I would definitely contract in consultants. I would never subcontract either because that gets messy for liability reasons. But you had to, I can get into that further on because you're in my next program anyways, right, Tanya?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So
And
I
I've
can get
already
on
bought
that.
my membership.
Yeah, getting that further, but it gets messy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Tanya, if you have a vision and it's your vision, you still, you gotta be, because you were saying women, and then you said, but she works with kids. But if that's not your vision to have children in this space, that's going to be like really
Yeah, no,
women.
I hear what you're saying. And for me, I'm just like, my passion is working with women, hers
Right.
is children, but our overall passion of helping to heal Black community, like individuals and then
Right.
community. Because we know if we heal as Black women, then it just
Right.
trickles down, right? Everyone
Yeah.
will then heal. So,
Yeah.
we all have different little niches. There's not one of us that fills it all. And I want to
Mhm.
open up a center, but everyone can come, every Black person can come, whatever it is their need is, and you can get it there.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, that's the reason why I was thinking, okay, maybe a couple of us, but you guys bring up great points for sure. For sure.
Mhm.
And I won't use my house.
No. And if you resonate with someone, have them as your ED. Have them as, you want to pick someone. I'm not the finance person, so I'm not going to I'm going to hire out someone who knows exactly what they're doing, right?
Oh,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes.
So again, you can make your own tribe. You can have your own tribe, but if, like Missy said, if it's your vision, it's your vision. I came across this just like Tia did, of years of learning and falling on my face and this and that, and having to teach myself and learn. And then it accumulated and came to me in this space, put it down on paper, and then ran with it. That is yours. Own that and walk proud in that, because it's only your journey that got you here, right?
Yes, that's true. You guys have been so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think that was it for the questions that they had to hands up.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I really do have a question because you guys are in a different position than me, all of you guys. And based on like some of the conversations that we've been having over the last few weeks and some of the ones we've been having here, and we already know my tolerance is very low. What would you recommend to Black women who are in spaces where they don't see themselves elevated or represented? However, the spaces might be good for business and networking and growing your business. Like, how can I align myself with my core values, but still keep my business in mind and want to make smart business decisions? Do you know what I mean? How can I do that? That would be great. Not just for me.
Unfortunately, I'm going to jump in because I have business and I'm in a non-for-profit. Unfortunately, there is no medium. There is not one. Not all money is good money. I've learned that along the way. Not all partnerships are good partnerships, Fantanish. And you have to be okay with whatever decision you make for yourself. I've made decisions for myself in the last 2 weeks that may affect the growth of BWIE, but I came to terms with that decision because I've worked with this organization for 3 years and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So I made a decision that may harm, but I'm okay with it. So there is no middle. There is no, if it's not conducive to me and I pull back, can I still get reparation from, can I still capitalize with that organization or business? No, unfortunately you can't. You need to make a decision on which is, and I don't want to say this for anybody, it may sound fucked up, but it's selling my soul. You're at the thick of it where you're in the process of figuring out, should I sell my soul to ensure I get this contract? Am I okay with what they're doing to get this contract? I don't feel good about this, but it pays the bills. You're in that space. So you have to know what's right for you. I know what's right for me. So that's how I can answer for you.
Hmm.
My grandmother would just always say, just make sure when you go to bed at night, you feel comfortable.
Oh, that's what Tanya just said. If you can sleep at night.
Go to bed at night. And if you can feel comfortable, then that's your answer right there. But if you go to bed and you got them thoughts and you're like, why did I do this? How come it wasn't for you. It's not for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had another conversation this week where another Black woman who I do admire, she was like, you know, don't let your discomfort around these people prevent your business from growing, because there's growth that can happen with what.
You know, I also say, like, I would
So
also
I'm like,
Can I ask can I ask the age difference between me and that person?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Is she older?
I would say so, yeah.
Yes, that's why I said that. I could tell by that answer. I'm
Mm.
sorry, I have to disagree. We are
Yeah.
no longer selling our souls and calling it discomfort. It's not called discomfort. It's
Mm.
called a safe place. It's called draining your mental.
Yeah.
Called advocating and fighting and bang your head against the wall against diversity, equity, and inclusion, a lack thereof. We're not calling discomfort. It is
Mhm.
not discomfort, but you can feel your energy being sucked out of you. There's one thing to not want to go in spaces because you don't see yourself in it. I do it
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
I'm the first Black woman to be a part of the Annapolis Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm usually the only Black woman when it comes to business, going to financial institutions, you know, uh, holiday dinners and things. Only,
Mm.
only. But I go to them because I know that what they're trying to do is going to benefit my Black community of women and the organization. That's why I do it. But there is now an organization, and you guys are well aware of, that had an opportunity over 3 years to do it and they didn't. So now I'm pulling back. So if
Mhm.
we're not going to call it discomfort, we're going to call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's not discomfort, but you do
Yeah.
not sell your soul for the benefit of scaling your business, girl, because not all money is good money. It really isn't. I've
Yeah.
let clients go because clients will refer to my cleaners as, oh, people like you know, clean the best. I
Oh,
love your type of people. You guys are great cleaners. I could have easily said to my cleaners, ignore that because they're paying me, you know,
no.
$2,000 a month to scale
Yeah.
my company. But that's okay. That's discomfort too, you know. People
Yeah.
classify that as discomfort. No, it's blatant.
oppression.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah, you're
oppression.
really hitting it. It's true.
It's
Yeah.
blatant. So I had to advocate for my cleaners and let that client go. So in the last year, I let 15 clients go. That's a lot of money. You do the numbers. And most of my clients are weekly at, you're looking at $900 to $1,000 every Friday. So
Yeah.
do that number. I let them go because they were not conducive to the environment that I wanted my staff to be in anymore. And I was tired and I was drained from them. That's not discomfort, Fantanish. So
Yeah.
that terminology, let's throw it the window. I appreciate what that person said, but I am not going to allow you to go down that line, Fantanish, and then get to that line and say, well, I was told not to let this discomfort. No,
No.
you're
No.
Yeah.
feeling icky because it's icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know how I feel, and I know where my heart lies and what I'm aligned with and I'm not aligned with. That I'm pretty good at figuring that out. But the I really had to think now about, am I separating my feelings from the business? You know, anyway, we can have a private conversation about it. Like,
I was
We
just thinking that.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I
but I
think,
don't mind having this conversation publicly because you are not the only one probably going through it today.
yeah,
no, but
Someone else is listening to it and someone else is saying, oh, okay, I see that point. Oh, okay, I see that point. I like having conversations like this. Yes, we can
Yep.
have it, we can have it privately so we can kind of cut through barriers of what you're actually talking about.
yeah,
But this itself, it is not the first time I've heard this. It is not the third time, not the fifth time. This
No.
is a continuous topic when it comes to Black women in business because we
Yeah.
are so scared to lose those contracts. We're so scared to not be able to scale our business based on, as Tanya calls it, racial
The racial
trauma. The
Yeah.
racial trauma is in our decision making at this point.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, when you're an entrepreneur, your business is you. You are your business. You are your brand. Your brand is you.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
you can also think about it. Like, what would you say to your kids if they were in this situation?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or your
No.
best friend.
What would you give? Like, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say your kids because, you know, before my mom passed, I had been working for someone, and I would be, we'd go shopping and I would tell her what I was dealing with. And of course, again, it's an age thing. Just grin and bear it, you'll love it. Just grin and bear it,
That's
grin
why
and
I
bear
asked
it.
the age.
Yeah, grin and bear it. Right. So I did. And literally, mom passed and I stopped grinning and bearing it. And I just, I did something that I never thought I would ever do. And I told this person off, and who was in power. I was not. And uh, it was like the biggest weight came off my shoulders. I was like, holy crap, I've been putting up with that for like 6 years. And I never realized the microaggressions that I had been putting up with from this person for 6 years. I had been keeping notebooks of comments. My coworker would walk past my desk with a sticky note with how many times that person would call my name, and she would do something like that so I could see how many times my name was called in an hour. Like it was just,
Let's
but
see.
but my mom was grin and bear it, grin and bear it. But the last straw was a comment was said to me in front of other people. I was sitting and they all were standing. And I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. I'm sitting, they're standing. But they weren't in it, but she had said it in front of them. And I just, right? Everything came out of me. And she said, well, how about we finish this conversation in my office? I said, no, you started it out here in front of them. You will finish it out here in front of them. She proceeded to go into her office and slam the door. And I proceeded to pick up the phone and tell my husband that I wasn't going to be carpooling and that I would need to drive home. But because we carpooled together. But that was it. That was like my biggest holy. I am not put on this earth to be treated with misogynistic behavior, microaggressive behavior, racist behavior by anybody. I don't give a shit if you make 100 grand a year. No, it's not going to happen. And I walked. It was hard because I loved my job. I had the coolest job. Like if I could have replicated it, I totally would today, because the job was fabulous. But yeah.
But isn't that the truth, that it's usually the job you love or what you're doing you love, but it's the hierarchy of the folks that,
You know why that
you know,
is? It's because the culture is embedded.
right?
It is so deeply rooted and embedded in their culture to allow the microaggressions, unconscious
Yep.
biases, the racism, the discrimination. And the microaggressions is basically what you're going to end up dealing with, Fantanis. If you're feeling that icky now, it's going to be
Yeah.
those microaggressions that
Yeah.
people will act like they don't know what they're doing, but they know exactly what they're doing. But
Mhm.
you're not going to leave because you're that poor white, you're that poor black girl that's just so happy to have this corporate contract. Let's
Yeah,
just say
thank you.
corporate. She would never put this down. She would never
Right.
say none of this
Yeah.
because them black women need us.
Right?
That's exactly where you're at right now.
Right?
Yeah, it's the whole status thing. But please don't worry about me because I have already made my decision. You guys, everybody knows what I
We know
have.
you. We know
what I have
we don't even know
done.
I don't even know the situation, but I know you, and I know that
Yeah.
you've done what you needed to
I
do.
did what I needed to do.
And what is wrong with taking people to task and telling your truth? Your
Yeah.
truth is
All
your
the time.
truth. It is valuable. It is real. It is on point, and don't let anyone take that from you. And if you have to take it to task, you have to, because I'm not willing to play small anymore. I'm not
Nope.
willing
No.
to placate
Ultimate
someone else
tolerance.
for something that they think they're doing me a favor. I walk in the
Right.
door with my knowledge, I'm doing you a fucking favor. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. And that's not from an
Yeah.
ego point of view. That is from I'm a Black woman. I have gone through trials and tribulations. I've lost my husband. The stories, the truth that I could tell you.
Right.
But if I don't stand in my truth now, just like my son said, if you're not going to become an entrepreneur now, then when, Mom?
When?
Mhm,
Do the damn thing, right? So when
mhm.
you tell people your truth and you take them to task,
Yeah.
you are saying, please hear me, see me, whether you like it or not. These are my valid voices and feelings. Last time I looked, I still think we have the right to say our truth. They haven't taken that away from us
Yeah.
yet.
They didn't take
Right?
it
Yeah.
yet.
So until they do, and boy, will that be a bad day if it ever comes, tell your truth, because
Yeah.
what is happening is we are living the trauma. We are carrying it in our cellular structure, and our baby child, his baby little Black girl with the afro who just wants to play hopscotch and like running she's dying. She's being
Right.
squashed. He's being told no. She's being told
Yeah.
she's
Just being
ugly or
silenced.
right,
Oh yeah,
being
silence.
worthy. No more. No
Yeah.
Yeah.
more. No
Gloria,
more.
Yeah. That's why
100 girl.
these
100%
conversations.
Gloria.
What?
Yeah.
I said 100%. I totally agree. And that's why my first question to Pantanish was, is she older than me? Because
Yeah.
different decades of different ages tolerate different things.
Yeah.
What I would tolerate, I can
That was
guarantee
powerful.
my children, my 27-year-old son, 24, I don't say my 24-year-old daughter who looks like me, she ain't gonna tolerate half of what I tolerate. And Missy witnessed that. So every generation is more educated, more empowered,
Yeah.
and they're not
Have to
they're not
tolerate
making
less.
it no more.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
not doing. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
We're blazing the trail, and so we have a responsibility. Let's do this right.
Yes.
It's gonna be messy, but
Yeah.
we keep telling our truth and we keep taking people to task. How can you go wrong? We're not penalizing you. We're checking you. I'm checking you. You know, anybody know how to play chess? Checkmate. If you want to play don't hate the player, hate the game. And we're
Yeah.
hating the game. The game is against us. So
Yeah.
how do we level the playing field so
It's
we can
true.
fucking get in the game? I just want to get in the game. I don't need to be the
Girl.
fucking best, but I need you to hear me, and I just want to be allow me to put a shirt on and play the game,
I just want to
play
play
the
with
game.
everybody.
right?
I want to know when Dory is moving to Nova Scotia.
As soon as
Yeah.
possible.
Bit the fire.
My
You
son
know
has
what?
to
In the
finish
fire.
helicopter school, and then I'm there.
That is the exact reason, you guys, why I went to her and I approached her to head BWIE for BC, because she is who I should have been 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 8, 9 years ago. She has it. And if you put me and Dory in a room together, they would probably have to guess who actually founded BWIE, because she's that passionate.
I'm
So,
just grateful
it.
that I
Yeah.
found you. I told
Oh
Tia
my
the
God,
other
here we
day-
go.
No, I won't. I promise.
Okay.
I said to her, I went to something important and I saw no one like me, and she heard me. I said, am I wrong for this? Like, I was just so. Anyways, all I can say is I am deeply honored that all of our paths have crossed, and the gifts that you're giving me, and the power, and to say yes, let's rise together. This is what community. I always say on my business card, ain't no community without unity. And from survival to thrive. That's all I've ever said. And then I meet you, beautiful women, and Tia says, "Hey, I believe in you. I'm gonna mirror you, and we got passion, and we got a voice. Let's do this." And that's all I'm ever looking for. And walk with me, walk together. I'm grateful to you guys. You have no idea how lonely it is in this fucking room, man. And so I am deeply honored for all of your voices, your beautiful faces, and who you show up to be every day. And Miss Galaxy, if you are still on, you are. We love you, and this is a community. And what he is trailblazing for the rest of us is monumental. Remember when I said that epiphany moment, that something's going to change here
Oh, it's
today.
gonna change. Yeah.
Something's going to change here today, and I just want to be a part of it. and I am
It's
deeply
cool. Let's all be a
honored.
part of it. Let's all be a part of it. Well, we're at 9:20 p.m. We could go on for hours. You know how Black folk be talking. Um, and I am absolutely honored to be able to sit with you guys and chat to you guys and have your opinions and your thoughts and your mere presence and everything be surrounded by me. I know you guys always say, "Oh, Tia, you motivate me, you inspire me." But without you guys, I would not be here doing what I'm doing either. If no one believed in me, I wouldn't have the foundation I have either. So kudos to you ladies and all the ladies at BWIE. We are at that crossing roads where things are going to change for the better. And I'm really excited to be able to do it with, my closest, individuals through the organization, who you are, and the women that work with me one-on-one. Well, I'm just going to say Missy with my crazy shit. Absolutely grateful for her. Um, I'm just loving this journey. And I'm so glad that, I started my first company in 2013 and I'm going on 10 years old. Me and that actually Princess P3 here, we have the same anniversary date for our companies, just different years. And this July be 10 years. But I'm so glad I did it and I wouldn't change anything about it. But what really makes me happy and makes me sleep well at night is me being in this realm with Black women in excellence and working with so many Black women. I would do this for free if my fiance allowed me. I would do this for the rest of my life if I could, because I enjoy it that much. So I guess here is to thank you. Love each and every one of you guys. I'm here for, your journey, and I can't wait to see where we all end up on the other side.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
night, everybody.
Have a good
you.
night.
Thanks,
Sleep
everyone.
well. Sleep well, everybody.
Thanks.
Be well. Thank you, Tia. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah.